Hello, friends. I've brought you a story that, once you hear it, you will never again try to board an unfamiliar bus. Because what happened to me that night is something that's hard to even describe. It was late at night, past 12 a.m. My name is Jimmy. Like every day, I was returning from the office and standing at my usual bus stop, the same stop where I caught my bus every day. But that day, I was a little late, so my last bus had already left. I waited for almost half an hour, but there was no sign of a bus anywhere. I stood alone at the bus stop. Thick darkness surrounded me, and complete silence filled the air. It felt as if there was no one in the world except me. I thought no bus would come anymore. But suddenly, from a distance, I heard the horn of a strange old bus. A harsh, slow, unsettling sound. I looked ahead and saw a yellow, flickering light, as if an old bus was approaching. The light was so dim and weak that it barely illuminated the road. Seeing it, I felt relieved. Finally, I thought, a bus. Now I'll get home soon. The bus slowly approached and stopped with a dreadful creaking noise. The door opened on its own with a long, eerie sound. An old ticket conductor stepped out. His skin was loose, his eyes were sunken, and he wore a torn, outdated uniform. He looked at me and said, "Come on, aren't you going? It's getting late." I replied, "All right," and reached out to hand him the fare. But he brushed my hand away. In a slow, rasping voice, he said, "Fare later. First sit." Without saying anything, I stepped inside the bus. The conductor instantly ordered, "Go sit on the back seat." I was confused. The bus was completely empty. Why would he ask me to sit at the back when every seat in the front was vacant? A slight uneasiness crept into me, but I obeyed and went to the third seat from the back. The moment I sat down, the bus suddenly began moving, without a single engine sound. The old vehicle rattled violently. Outside the windows, there was only thick darkness. It felt as if we weren't traveling on a familiar road anymore, but through some endless, unknown tunnel. I took out my handkerchief and wiped the dust from my face. And as soon as I lifted my eyes, I froze in terror. The entire bus was now full. Every seat was occupied, men and women sitting silently, wearing ancient, faded, torn clothing. Nobody moved. Nobody blinked. Their pale skin and dry, lifeless hair made them look like they belonged to another era. Shaken, I looked toward the conductor. He stood near the steering wheel, completely still, as if nothing had happened. Trying to keep my voice steady, I said, "Excuse me, where did all these people come from?" The bus was empty when I entered. There was no response. The bus made a strange, muffled growling sound as it sped forward into the darkness. I thought maybe I was hallucinating from exhaustion. I looked at a woman sitting in the seat in front of me. Her clothes looked like they were from the 1940s. I slowly reached out my hand to touch her shoulder. The moment my fingers touched her, her entire body shattered like glass and dissolved into a cloud of dust and ash. Only an empty seat remained. Horrified, I fell back into my seat. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. The conductor slowly turned around. A terrifying, wide smile stretched across his face. A smile that never reached his cold, dead eyes. He began walking toward me. The bus lights flickered rapidly, making the ghostly passengers appear even more horrifying. He stopped right in front of me. Pointing his long, thin fingers at me, he whispered, "These are the people taken by this bus before their time. Every night we travel this route to complete their final ride. And now, Jimmy, you will come with us too." He grabbed my wrist suddenly. His grip was ice cold and unbelievably strong. I tried with all my strength, but I couldn't move. Gathering every ounce of courage, I shouted, "I need to get out of here." The moment I shouted, the bus came to a sudden, violent stop. For a brief moment, the conductor seemed distracted. Perhaps he didn't expect me to resist. I twisted my hand free and ran toward the door, but the door was locked. I slammed my fists against it, but it was as solid as iron. The conductor was approaching, and behind him, all the ghostly passengers were slowly rising from their seats, together, in perfect silence. Terrified, I closed my eyes, screamed, and slammed the door with all my strength. Suddenly, a sharp screeching sound, and I fell onto the ground. When I opened my eyes, the bus was gone. I was lying among dry leaves and bushes on the side of the road. There were no lights, no sounds, nothing. Shaking uncontrollably, I stood up and ran without looking back. I knew that bus belonged to another world, a world where lost passengers continued their final journey forever. After that night, I never returned to that bus stop, and I never boarded an unfamiliar bus again. Even today, late at night, I can still hear that horn echoing in the darkness. And yes, if you have ever experienced any scary journey or incident, you can share it with us. If you also want to share something with us, then type your story in the comment box and send it to us. Thank you for watching the video.